fellow classmates, and distinguished audience members. Welcome to our academic forum titled Remote Work versus Office Culture, the Future of Professional Collaboration. It is my pleasure to serve as today's moderator and also one of the panelists for this session. Alongside me are my fellow presenters, Aina and Mashta, who will each share evidence-based perspective on how the evolving nature of work is shaping productivity, well-being, and professional culture. Today's discussion aims to explore how the traditional office culture has been transformed by digital innovation and global shift toward flexible, remote, and hybrid work models. We will examine this topic from three key angles. First, the historical and theoretical foundation of remote work, how it started, and what framework explains its success and challenges. Second, the practical implication for productivity, flexibility, and employee well-being. The third one is future outlook, focusing on hybrid culture, ethics, and leadership in this digital age. As we proceed, we encourage the audience to think critically and reflect on a simple question. Is remote work merely a trend, or is it a new norm that will redefine professional collaboration in the years ahead? So, before we begin, let's have a quick reflection. How many of us here have experienced studying or working remotely, perhaps during the pandemic or through online collaboration? Please raise your hand if you have.
Can I also add, do you remember when you have to do study remotely? Yes, in 2022 because of COVID-19.
Yes.
That's the summary.
Thank you. That experience, whether positive or challenging, is precisely why today's forum matters. Remote work is no longer just an emergency solution. It has become a long-term system that continues to evolve with both advantages and limitations. In today's interconnected world, organizations are rethinking how work happens. According to Microsoft Research 2024, more than 70% of companies now adopt some form of remote or hybrid work structure. This trend is not limited to Western economies. Many Malaysian firms and public institutions are also experimenting with hybrid policies to enhance efficiency and attract younger talents. Yet, despite these transformations, one core question remains: can remote work truly replace the sense of belonging and collaboration that traditional office culture provides? This is what we aim to unpack through this academic discussion. Our session will be divided into three segments. First, Aina will discuss the historical and theoretical foundation of remote work. She will explain how work evolved from the industrial era to the digital era and what theories support remote collaboration. Second, I will present findings on productivity, flexibility, and employee well-being, highlighting how remote systems can improve performance when implemented thoughtfully. Finally, Mashita will explore the cultural, ethical, and future implications of hybrid work, how organizations can build trust and sustain creativity in digital environment. After this presentation, we will open the floor for Q&A session, where you may share your thoughts or ask questions to any of our panelists. So, without further delay, let us begin our discussion. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Aina, who will present on the evolution of work from industrial system to digital collaboration. Aina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz, and good morning to everyone and fellow panelists and audience members. So, for my part, I'm going to focus on the growing importance of remote work in shaping the future of professional collaboration. To understand this transformation, we must first explore work itself, how work has evolved over time, and what theories help explain this change. For much of history, work was location dependent. During the Industrial Revolution, productivity was measured by physical presence. Workers were required to report to factories and later to offices where supervision were required to report. Where supervision was the main form of management. This structure emphasized control, routine, and hierarchy. Do you remember the time? Yes, you may come in. Do you remember the time when everyone has to go to their workplace to be considered working? But now it is not like that anymore, because society has entered the informative and digital era that caused the value of work shifted from physical output to knowledge and innovation. Technological advancement also helped in the progress of remote work. For example, internet, cloud computing, and virtual communication tools have allowed people to collaborate without being in the same room or even in the same country. According to Leonardo Parker and Shane in 2024, this shift marks a fundamental change. Productivity is now defined not only by attendance but by outcomes. The pandemic that happened in 2019 only accelerated this transformation, causing organizations that once resisted remote work had no choice but to adapt. If you think about it, many of us have experienced this change personally. Online learning, digital group projects, and virtual meetings have all shown that physical proximity is not the only way to collaborate.
That's true, I did also experience it during the pandemic community.
Yeah, because at that time we don't have any other choices. How about you, Rashi? Do you believe that physical proximity is not the only way to measure productivity in the work? Alright, okay, that's all. So we'll continue. So as we all know, the main reason that remote work started was because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic was a global catalyst for a changing professional norms. According to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2024, more than 60% of knowledge workers worldwide transitioned to remote work during this period because people have movement restrictions. But even after the restrictions were lifted, many continued to work remotely, proving that location flexibility can sustain or even enhance productivity. So, because we are talking about it, I would like to ask you guys a question. For your opinion, anyone may raise their hands. For your opinion, do you think location flexibility will help you in becoming more productive? Anyone would like to answer? Yeah. Why? Oh, alright, okay. So in Malaysia, the shift was observed. Companies such as Petronas, Maybank, and Telekom Malaysia, we have all known companies, right? Very famous company, has experimented with hybrid models to maintain operation while ensuring employees' safety. The remote work was more than a temporary solution. It represents a permanent mindset change in how work could be done, not only by physical appearance but by the work outcome itself. To support more to our understanding, several theories has explained why remote work can still be effective when managed properly. The first is social exchange theory. This theory suggests that relationships, whether between individuals or organizations, are built on trust and reciprocity. When employees are given autonomy and flexibility, they often reciprocate with greater commitment and motivation. As a student, I would like to give an example to you with teacher and student relationship. When the teacher trusts you, oh, you must do this by me, I trust you, then we'll have to do it because it becomes a responsibility and we will not like to break the trust of our teachers. But we also have quote from Lucas Kochinowa in 2022 emphasizes the sense of mutual trust between employers and employees is what drives sustainable remote collaboration. And the second theory is self-determination theory. This theory is based from psychological perspective. This story argues argues that human motivation thrives when three psychological needs are fulfilled. First is autonomy, which is psychological needs for the freedom of human to make decisions, and the second one is the competence, the ability to perform well, and lastly, relatedness, the feeling of connection with others. While we are doing remote work, we support the autonomy, the freedom to make decisions, and we also support competence, the ability to perform well strongly. But however, remote work does not support relatedness because when we remote work, we don't have no communication with our colleague and everything. So, the third relatedness requires intentional digital communication to prevent isolation. And lastly is technology-enabled performance theory. This emerging concept highlights that technology acts as a mediator for efficiency. Google tools like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and Google Workspace have redefined how performance is measured. It is not based on hours spent, but on the quality of collaboration. So the good outcome is quite important most. Despite the advantages, remote work presents challenges that must be addressed to ensure balance and sustainability. Research by Sokik in 2024 identifies common risks such as social isolation and burnout, the work-life boundaries, over-dependent on digital systems, and inconsistent communication. With that, I would like to ask you, if you were to have a remote work, do you think you will be handle the stress? Like, are you an introverted person or extroverted person? Do you need to be alone to be able to work well, or do you need to work together to work well?
I think I want to know from your experience, as I know you are introvert.
Oh, honestly, I am an introvert, but I think I work well with others because being alone doesn't give me pressures that I need to do work. But I still support remote work sometimes. How about the audience? Do you have any experience you would like to tell?
For me, I would prefer to do remote work because for me, it's easier for me to focus with my work when I'm alone.
Yes, because you can adjust the time wisely. So you have more work-life balance on it. However, innovative organizations are responding effectively. They implement structured virtual meetings, mentorship programs, and digital awareness initiatives to strengthen connection and maintain productivity. Leadership also plays a critical role here. Traditional leaders focus on supervision, but remote work demands trust-based leadership because we cannot look at the workers all the time. So we have to have trust-based leadership. As Lu in 2024 argues, effective leaders now act more as a facilitator, providing guidance, empathy, and empowerment rather than control. Let's pause for a moment to reflect. I would like to ask a question. How many of you have ever felt more productive or comfortable working on a project alone compared to being personally with others? No. So you prefer to work with others?
I think they're vice versa.
Yeah. Maybe based on situation and you kind of work itself. Right? That simple experience captures what remote work represents, the shift from control to trust and accountability. Currently, in Malaysia, the acceptance of remote work continues to grow. A 2024 survey by Talent Corp Malaysia revealed that 72% of Gen Z employees prefer hybrid or remote arrangements, seeking flexibility and well-being as their top priorities. Even public institutions are adapting. The Public Service Department, or known as JPA, launched a hybrid work guideline in 2023 to allow certain civil servants to perform tasks remotely orientation. This demonstrates that remote work is not limited to private sector only, but also to government sector. It's becoming a national conversation about how work should evolve to fit modern lifestyles. While globally, companies have already proven that remote work can be sustainable, For instance, IBM and Dell pioneered flexible work programs as early as the 1990s. During the pandemic, Microsoft and Google extended this system by integrating digital collaboration tools and cloud infrastructure to support millions of employees worldwide. The results were positive: higher job satisfaction, lower turnover, and improved inclusivity for employees who previously faced barriers due to distance, caregiving, or disability. This can help people who have disability to still work while not being able to go to the company itself. These are examples align with social exchange theory, showing that when organizations trust their employees and offer flexibility, productivity, and loyalty naturally increase because we have trust in the company itself. To summarize, the evolution of work from the industrial age to the digital era represents more than a technological shift. It is a cultural and psychological transformation. Work is no longer confined by physical boundaries. Leadership now depends on trust rather than supervision. And success is measured by outcomes, not attendance. As we move forward, it becomes clear that the organization which embrace flexibility and invest in employee well-being are the ones that is best equipped for the future. With that, I would like to pass the discussion back to Is, who will further explain how remote work directly enhances productivity, flexibility, and overall well-being within modern professional environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Anya, for laying the foundation so clearly. Building upon what we shared, I will now discuss how remote work impacts three crucial dimensions of professional success, which is productivity, flexibility, and well-being. Let us begin with productivity. The measures that organizations value most. Many assume that employees are less productive when working remotely. However, research consistently proves that the opposite when systems are properly designed. According to Bloom 2024 from Stanford University, hybrid and remote arrangements have been found to increase productivity by 13% compared to the traditional office. Do you believe that, Aina? This improvement occurs for three main reasons: reduced commuting time, which allows more focus and energy for work; fewer interruption from office noise or informal distractions; and personalized environment where employees can manage their concentration better. For instance, imagine an employee who previously spent 2 hours daily for commuting. Oh my god, I don't believe that. I know.
Why it's so bad?
Yes, so under remote condition, that time can now be used for creative and strategic work instead. Okay, so by showing hands, how many of us here feel more focused when working in our own quiet space compared to a crowded environment? Yeah, that shows how environmental control can directly affect performance, a simple yet powerful benefit of remote system. Let's move on to the second part. The second aspect is flexibility, the freedom to choose when and where to work. Remote work allows professionals to tailor their schedule to their natural rhythm, improving both focus and efficiency. But beyond convenience, flexibility has become a tool for inclusivity. According to Powell Bank 2024, remote work represents the democratization of employment. It allows participation from those who were previously excluded by physical or social barriers, such as caregivers, people with disabilities, or individuals in rural areas. For example, a mother balancing children care can now maintain a professional career from home. Next, a qualified engineer in a rural state can contribute to global projects without relocation. Lastly, individuals with mobility challenges can participate equally through digital means. Yeah, this will help a lot of people, and you can reduce the carbon footprint.
Yes.
Okay, so this inclusivity supports sustainable development goal A, which promote decent work for all, regardless of background or location. In Malaysia, the same pattern is emerging. Talent Hub 2024 survey shows that nearly 60% of Malaysian professionals would decline a job offer without flexible working option. Would they decline if we don't have the flexible working option?
Honestly, I think I would not. Because I am able to work with others well, but I think I would prefer if they provide even hybrid work program, because it is still nice to be able to do my work without being constantly monitored or under pressure.
How about our audience? Would you decline or accept a job offer without flexible working hours? Yeah, so that's the evidence of employers are now realizing that flexibility is not a privilege, it's a modern necessity for retaining skilled workers. Let's look at a global example that demonstrates how flexibility strengthens productivity. Microsoft Hybrid Work Lab 2024 found that employees working under flexible conditions completed tasks 15% faster without compromising quality. Meanwhile, Dell Technologies reported saving nearly 12 million annually. Can you believe that, Mashita? 12 million is a lot. So, in operational costs by maintaining hybrid teams, these results are echoed by local companies such as Maybank and CIMB, the companies that we always use every day, which introduce work from everywhere frameworks to reduce burnout and improve engagement. Hence, flexibility does not mean working less. It means working smarter with greater autonomy and accountability. The third pillar of our discussion is well-being. Essential factors often overlooked in performance analysis. Research from Mental Health America 2024 reveals that employees with flexible working conditions experience 13.5% lower burnout and 25% higher with job satisfaction. This happens because they gain control over their environment, schedule, and energy level, which reduce chronic stress. For instance, an employee who can adjust their day to include short break or family time tend to maintain better focus and emotional stability. Remote work also, yes, I know.
I would really have to agree with adjusting my day, because some people could not focus in the day, but they could focus in the night. So it would really suit them to work remotely compared to the traditional method.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, remote work also promotes psychological safety, where employees feel trusted rather than micromanaged. When management focuses on outcomes rather than constant visibility, workers feel empowered to innovate and take initiative. This finding aligns with self-determination theory, which I now mentioned earlier. Autonomy enhances motivation and engagement. Let's take a quick moment for reflection. Think about your own study or work habit. Do you perform better when given freedom to plan your time or when someone monitors you?
For me,
Can you introduce yourself first?
my name is Syed. So, with the question, I think I work better if someone is monitoring me.
Why is it so?
Because it gives us some kind of pressure to do the work.
Do you think you'll be able to do your work if you're working remotely, but the manager of your workplace give you a tight deadline? Do you still be able to work? Yes.
Yeah, still will be able to finish before the deadline, because the deadline itself creates a pressure for the employee to finish the work.
So remote work can be done effectively with correct alternative.
But it also differ from other people.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like I'm different with Shahid, because I think I can make work when someone is monitoring me, because I think that, for example, the deadline is pressure me, so I cannot do the work, like I cannot do,
You cannot focus
yes,
on well.
yes. So the result will not be excellent.
Oh, okay. that simple difference between Shahid and Mashda is autonomy versus control. Explain why many people feel happier and more productive in remote settings. And of course, remote work is not without criticism. One common concern is that creativity and teamwork decline when people work apart. However, evidence suggests that it is not distance that weakens creativity. It is poor design of collaboration. According to WHO et al. 2022, found that when organizations combine online digital collaboration with occasional face-to-face session, creativity and team increase. This is because remote systems allow deep work, time periods of uninterrupted focus, followed by structured brainstorming. A clear example from Google, which adopted a hybrid approach in 2023 known as Remote First Fridays. Teamwork independently during the week but reconnect every Friday for creative discussion. Google is very creative.
Google is really creative in improving the information because in that way, your workers will be able to still have social communication, but the social communication will still be limited, but it will still be done and help in people who are suffering from burnout and tiredness.
Yeah. So this combination enhances both productivity and innovation. Next, leadership play a defining role in determining whether remote work succeeds. As Rule 2024 states, leaders must shift from supervisors of presence to facilitators of trust. Effective remote leadership involves setting clear goals and outcomes, communicating expectations transparently, offering regular feedback, and encouraging employee well-being through empathy and flexibility. When leadership involves this way, remote teams often outperform traditional ones in engagement and growth. So, remote work is not just a productivity strategy, it's a strategic transformation for sustainability and talent retention. Companies that embrace flexibility often gain access to a more diverse and global talent pool, reduce overhead costs, and demonstrate social responsibility by lowering carbon emissions through fewer commutes. For instance, Microsoft Research 2024 estimates that hybrid work models could reduce corporate carbon footprint by up to 13% on annually. Can you believe that?
That's why remote work is now practicable effectively globally.
Yeah. Such figures shows that flexible working support not only economic goals but also environmental and social sustainability. In summary, remote work enhances productivity by allowing focus and eliminating unnecessary constraints. It promotes flexibility and inclusivity, ensuring that talent is recognized based on performance rather than geography. It improves well-being by reducing stress and empowering autonomy. And most importantly, it challenges leaders to build trust-based culture where result matters more than physical presence. Remote work, therefore, is not a sign of laziness or detachment. It is an evolution of professionalism guided by trust, technology, and respect for human values. So, to continue this conversation, we will now turn to our third speaker, Mashita, who will explore how remote and hybrid work are shaping organizational culture, ethics, and the future of professional collaboration. Mashita, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eve, and thank you, Aina, for those comprehensive insights. Having understood the foundation and the practical impacts of remote work, let us now consider a crucial question. How does this transformation affect workplace culture, ethics, and the long-term future of professional collaboration? Additionally, organizational culture has been built on proximity. People working in the same physical space, sharing routines and social interactions that shape companies' value. However, as work becomes more digital, culture is no longer confined to physical walks. So basics to what demonstrates that culture is not about location, but also interaction. In remote settings, connection and belonging are maintained through communication, shared goals, and digital collaboration rituals. Many companies now build culture through ritual team building, digital recognition programs, and regular information regular informal check-ins to replace scheduled office conversation. Okay, for example, IBM created a virtual coffee club where employees meet weekly online to discuss non-work topics, maintaining a sense of friendship and inclusivity. Do you all familiar with this thing? I think you all are familiar with such as Google Meet and Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can someone share me your experience using that Google Meet and Zoom and so on?
And how? And when did you use them?
We use that for what? We do it.
For me as a student, so usually when the lecturers are busy or having other things to attend, so they usually use the platforms such as Google Meet and Zoom to do online classes. So
Do you think the learning can be done that way and maybe be able to work that in brain?
for me is the way is good because and in the end of the story it depends on the person itself. So if the person want to learn about it, so he will focus in that thing.
So how about you?
For me, obviously, I will focus in the routine.
Okay, now let's think for a moment. What do you value most in a workplace culture? Constant physical presence or mutual respect and trust, regardless of location?
For me, I would choose the mutual trust and respect because I really like it when someone gives me the trust, and because of the trust that they have given to me, I feel more pressured to do well because I don't want to let them down.
Okay, the reflection highlights how culture has shifted from shared space to shared values. Next is remote first, not remote only. The debate between remote and office work has led to a middle ground, which is the hybrid model. This approach combines the autonomy of remote work with the collaboration of office settings. Tang Lian describes hybrid system as remote first, but not remote only. What is it mean? This means employees can work remotely because most of the time, but still together for important meetings, brainstorming, or social activities. Hybrid system brings several benefits, such as they maintain human connection while offering flexibility. They support collaborative planning through occasional face-to-face interaction, and also they help organization reduce costs while improving morale. For example, Google and Microsoft implemented hybrid schedules where teams meet in person 2 days a week. Surveys showed employees reporting greater satisfaction and creativity compared to full-time office setups. Do you agree with that?
Personally, I would prefer to work with Google because of that reason. Because I can have my own time, like me time,
Yes.
Yes, I totally agree. Even though remote work is fun and balanced and I can manage my own time, but I still need human-to-human interaction to have my own work friends, something like that, to improve my
Yeah, it's like
and
a
avoid.
balance.
Yeah, balance. So I really agree with the hybrid.
Okay, next. Remote and hybrid models also bring ethical responsibilities that organizations must address. First, there is the issue of data privacy and monitoring. While technology enables communication, it also allows excessive surveillance of employees' digital activities. Leaders must balance accountability with respect for privacy. According to Microsoft research, ethical digital leadership requires transparency about how employee data is used and measured. Trust should remain the foundation and not surveillance. Second, there is the question of equality and access. Not all employees have equal access of reliable internet or technology. I think you guys also have the same problem during the pandemic. Do you guys have an internet problem?
Yeah. Maybe because everyone currently having a like online interaction at that time.
One more thing I would like to add. Can you repeat the part where people have, you know how you say not all people have equal access to
Yes.
internet? You asked the question about learning, but how do companies support, how do companies provide their workers who don't have equal access to internet? Like, in this pattern, do you feel like it's possible for them to give them tools and
Yeah, from my experience, companies often providing their mobile hotspot or data for their employers. So in that way, they can communicate even in online.
Yes, I'm sorry that one company they sponsored the data for a month.
Yeah.
That's really great of that.
Yes. So that's why organizations must ensure fair digital inclusion through equipment support and training programs. This is like what I said before. Lastly, remote work supports environmental sustainability. Reduced commuting means lower carbon emissions. The World Economic Forum reported that hybrid work structures can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 30% annually. You think it's a lot?
That is
Yes,
correct.
yes. We can be the better and
Thus, remote work contributes to not only the employee well-being but also to broader environmental goals. Ethical and cultural balance ultimately depends on leadership. As Shane's model of organizational culture highlights 3 layers of culture. The first one is artifacts, which is visible behaviors and systems. The next one is exposed values. This is what an organization says it believes in, and underlying assumption, which is the shared mindset that guides action. In digital workplace, leaders must nurture all 3 layers intentionally. They should create a digital artifact, such as clear communication, express values of openness and trust, and encourage assumption of flexibility and respect. For instance, Unilever's human-centered hybrid policy encourages managers to focus on outcomes and empathy. Leaders receive training in remote emotional intelligence, learning how to identify burnout or disengagement, even through virtual tools. Such leadership ensures that technology remains a tool for empowerment, not control. Looking ahead, the future of work will be defined by adaptability, the ability to evolve with technology. Societal expectations and personal well-being will determine organizational success. Roma 1, Suharto, and Shani found that hybrid models improve employee engagement, creativity, and retention. They argue that companies embracing flexibility are more likely to survive economic fluctuations because their workers remain motivated and resilient. Do you agree with that, Ms. Antana?
yes, I agree with
I
you.
think by workers being given trust, they will come to learn the company more, which help for the worker to stay loyal to their company.
Yeah, so that can improve the employee engagement. To illustrate, after the pandemic, Deloitte Southeast Asia implemented the work from anywhere framework. The policy increased employee engagement scores by 80% within a year and reduced voluntary turnover by 25%. This shows that flexibility is not just an employee benefit, it is a competitive advantage. Okay, let us reflect again. Do you think the future of work will prioritize flexibility and digital skills more than location and hierarchy?
For me, I think it is based on the work itself. If the work can be done virtually, then it will be prioritize flexibility
Yes.
and
Digital skill.
digital skill is definitely needed. But if the work was more like physical levels, then location and hierarchy is needed.
If so, then education and training must also evolve to prepare us for this reality, which is where communication, adaptability, and digital literacy define professional success. In conclusion, workplace culture is no longer bound by geography but strengthened through trust and communication. Hybrid models offer the best of both worlds, promoting connection and flexibility. And ethical digital leadership ensures sustainability, fairness, and psychological safety. And finally, organizations that embrace change will thrive in the new world of work. As we have seen, the future is not about choosing between office or home. It is about building a culture that values people over workers. Thank you. I now hand the floor back to Eve, who will guide us through the Q&A sessions and closing reflections.
Thank you very much, Mashita, for the insightful and thought-provoking presentation. Now, we have now reached the final segment of our forum, the Q&A session. This is the part where we would like to hear from you, our audience. We welcome your opinions, questions, or reflection about remote and hybrid work, particularly on how it shapes productivity, well-being, and workplace culture. So, thank you once again for everyone who has joined us for this forum on remote work versus office culture, the future of professional collaboration. We've already discussed how technology, flexibility, and well-being redefine the modern workplace. Now, in this Q&A and open discussion segment, we will go deeper. We'll explore real-world example, leadership insight, and ethical consideration that shape the future of work. My fellow panelists, Aina and Mashita, will help me respond to several questions, and of course, we encourage audience participation along the way. Let's begin. Can we have the first question?
Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Marina. Since you have talked about the efficiency of remote work, so how can organizations maintain trust and accountability when employees work remotely?
This question goes to the heart of leadership in digital era. Without daily face-to-face supervision, how can leadership ensure employees remain accountable while still feeling trusted?
Can you answer the question? That is a very important point. Research by Liu in 2024 shows that trust is built when leaders focus on results and not present. For instance, instead of counting how many hours employees stay online, organizations should set clear key performance indicators (KPI). As a good example is Microsoft result-oriented culture, where managers measure performance through goals achieved and hours logged in. So, for example, it is like how we are right now. The teachers set our work and then set a due date. So the boss or the manager should do that instead of counting how many hours they spend online in that task. Yes, that's the point.
Yes, I agree, Aina. Trust grows when the communication is transparent. Weekly virtual check-ins and progress report can help leaders stay updated without micromanaging. In fact, IBM implemented Trust Dashboard, where both manager and staff update project milestones. This can create shared accountability.
Exactly. Trust also depends on psychological safety. When employees know they are evaluated fairly, they were more likely to take initiative. So, accountability in remote setting isn't just about control, it's about clarity and communication. If you were leading a remote team, would you rather monitor attendance or measure complete outcomes?
Measure can complete outcome for me, I think, because the amount of time that we use to do the work doesn't equal to the quality of the work itself. Some people just have a really nice idea that and have a really good skill that helps them to do the very good work with a short amount of time. So I think it is unfair to judge them based on how many hours they work instead of what kind of quality of work that they bring.
Yeah, that's true. Can we have the second question?
Yes. Okay. So, does remote work between teamwork and creativity, or is it vice versa that technology actually strengthens collaboration?
A common misconception is that remote work makes teams disconnected or less creative. But what does research shows, Aina?
According to Hu et al. In 2022, creativity can actually increase in remote environment if collaboration is well designed. Take Google's distributed teams. For example, they brainstorm on shared whiteboards using Miro and Jamboard, allowing simultaneous idea generation across time zones. Remote work in this way breaks geographic limits and invites global perspective. In short, the communication problem with remote work can be can be tackled by technological tools.
Yes, and hybrid activity sessions has become the norm. For instance, Adobe hosts virtual creativity jams where designers contribute asynchronously online before final discussions. This can let the introverted and quieter employees help express their ideas confidently through writing.
Yeah, for introvert person like Aina, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. It's about structure, not space. When meetings are purposeful and inclusive, creativity thrives even through a screen. So remote work does not weaken innovation, it democratizes it. Can we have the third question?
My name is Ryan Sana. Usually you mention how people are currently are seeking work that provide remote. So, what are the key psychological impact of remote work on employees?
Let's move to the mental well-being. Something you cannot ignore. What does research tell us about remote work affect mental health, Aina?
According to Mental Health America in 2024, employees with flexible arrangements experience 55% lower burnout and 40% higher job satisfaction. Remote work offers autonomy, which improves intrinsic motivation. However, without social connection, isolation can occur, especially among new employees. But for me, I think remote work can help people to manage their time wisely. So every time they are stressed, they can just go out and have to take a break, go somewhere and go sightseeing, and then go back to work. I think it's better than being in the office itself for a long hours and not being able to go anywhere.
That's true. Many companies now host virtual coffee breaks or team bonding Fridays. At Genuine, managers allocate 15 minutes weekly for casual check-ins, but not about work, but personal well-being. I really love this because it keeps the human touch alive.
Yes.
Yeah, when you talk about that, I remember the Christine companies that got viral about their pantry. Do you hear about that?
Actually, I haven't. But it is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Because we have usually see work about stressing,
Yeah.
about pressure, but it's nice to see company to actually take care of their employees, their employees' mental well-being.
Yes, I think cultural awareness matters too. In collectivist culture like Indonesia, employees value belonging and group harmony. So leaders must balance flexibility with inclusion. For example, by celebrating major birthday or share milestones. Can we have the fourth question?
So for the remote work, which is related with the flexibility and the office culture, which is highly related with the teamwork. So as for the hybrid models, how can it balance between the flexibility and the teamwork?
Hybrid work often is said to be the best of both worlds, but how can it truly balance flexibility and teamwork?
Okay. For example, Google's 3-2 model, which is 3 days in office, 2 days remote, give freedom to collaboration. This ensures face-to-face brainstorming while maintaining flexibility for focusing individual tasks. So, within the 3 days in office, they can have communication with their colleague, while 2 days remote give them peace of mind they need to work creatively and do a good job.
Yes, Thailand refer to this as remote first, not remote only. It means remote work is the default, but in-person sessions are intentional. Teams meet when physical collaboration genuinely adds value.
Hybrid plays a great point, Rishta. Hybrid works model also reduce commuting stress when keeping the social bond alive. If done it right, it strengthens both efficiency and belonging. Okay, can we move? Do you have the fifth question?
So the fifth question is, how should leaders adapt their business style for remote or hybrid work?
Okay, thank you, Iqbal. Traditional leadership focuses on communication and control, but in today's workplace, what kind of leadership works? What do you think?
For me, I think order leadership is about coaching, not commanding. According to you, in 2024, successful remote leaders communicate vision, provide autonomy, and offer guidance rather than oversight. For instance, Salesforce trains managers to practice empathetic leadership, asking about employees' challenges before talking about performance. So, I think leadership currently is about coaching, is about them taking their employees' perspective into method. They talk about employee changes in doing work so that the employee itself can create a new way to overcome the challenges which can increase productivity within the workers itself.
Also, transparency and trust go hand in hand. Instead of monitoring every online movement, leaders can use digital dashboard that both sides can see. That promotes fairness and share progress. Because I think everyone, when they do the work, everyone want the fairness, right?
Yes, absolutely. A leader's story and empathy matters when even more online because body language is limited. Frequently, appreciation message or a short feedback notes go a long way in sustainable. Move on to the sixth question.
Are there any ethical issues or problems that arise from remote work technology, and how do companies handle them?
Okay, thank you, Shafika. As technology becomes central to remote work, ethics cannot be ignored. What challenges are more critical?
I think the most critical challenges is that some companies disrupt their workers' privacy. Some companies use employee monitoring software that tracks mouse movement or webcam time. This violates psychological safety. Transparency about what data is collected is crucial. Can you imagine working and the company track your mouse, how you use the display, and even the camera? It will be so scary, right?
Yeah, it's very good. It's going to disrupt the privacy.
Yeah. What if like something happened within that day, everything? I'm in my workspace and then my mother come along. People macam even like situation is not maybe my family is very loud and it was not really suitable for me.
Yes, and Microsoft Research recommends shared responsibility, where Yes, and Microsoft Research recommends shared responsibility, where organizations must explain monitoring purpose and employees must use company systems ethically.
Digital equality is another ethical issue. Not everyone has high-speed internet or ergonomic setups. That's why many companies, such as Dell, now provide home office stipends and mental health support for remote workers. Ethical digital leadership ensures technology empowers, not exploits employers. So, do you have any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you actually promote sustainability and corporate responsibility?
Okay, that's a great question, Haris. Let's now look at sustainability. Does remote work actually help the planet and society?
Yes, absolutely. Remote work dramatically reduce carbon emissions. According to the World Economic Forum in 2024, hybrid work can cut transportation emissions by nearly 30%. Companies like Twitter and Shopify close physical offices to reduce energy waste.
And near the environment, sustainability also means well-being. Flexible hours reduce burnout and improve family relationships and also supporting social sustainability.
Exactly, Mashita. Remote work, when managed ethically, contributes to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 3, good health, SDG 8, decent work, and SDG 13, climate action. Do you have any question before?
I would like to add something. Recently, gladly because people People are now being more aware about how global health about nature. People are being more naturally aware and trying to be more trying to be more.
Okay. Can we have next question? Okay.
How does remote work influence career growth for young professionals?
Oh, young employees often worry that working with remotely limits learning opportunities. So how can remote work support rather than restrict career growth?
Okay, that's a good question. Employees need informal mentorship, like observing seniors in an office. Digital mentorship is rising. In learning and Coursera teams allow virtual skills development and peer learning.
Effective IBS digital apprenticeship program is a strong example. It pairs interns with global mentors using virtual collaboration tools, so learning is modern.
So remote work also push young professionals to develop self-discipline, communication and digital literacy. Those are essential in 21st century employability skills. Next question.
I have one more question. What do you think the professional collaboration will look like in the next 10 years?
Finally, let's look forward. What might collaboration look like a decade from now?
Okay, the future will blend AI and human creativity. Virtual reality offices are emerging. For instance, Meta Horizon Workrooms allows people to meet in 3D spaces using avatars. This could redefine what presence means at work.
Yes, and things will likely become more global and project-based. Instead of permanent office, organization will form digital ecosystem where experts collaborate across continents.
Even right now, we can already see that many companies use AI to make ads for their business and everything. So we will expect more of that, I think.
That's fascinating. Future leaders will need not just technical literacy, but emotional intelligence to both manage humans and AI collaboration ethically. So let us ask our audience. Do you think we will ever return fully to traditional offices, or is the hybrid future already coming?
I think it will be more to hybrid with remote facilitator.
Yeah.
Because
I think Shahid is more preferred to vice versa.
Yes. Can you tell us the reason here?
the reason I think it takes time for us to adapt to new things. So some people they like changes, some people they don't like changes. So we cannot just hear one-sided opinion.
Okay, I think that's all. Thank you to my fellow panelists, Aina and Mashta, for your insightful contribution. Throughout our Q&A, we explored trust, creativity, well-being, leadership, ethics, and sustainability. All pillars of a progressive workplace. It's clear that remote work is not just a trend, it is a transformation. The future belongs to those who can adapt, communicate, and collaborate, whether across the screen or shared the room. On behalf of our panel, I would like to thank everyone for engaging in this intellectual discourse. Together, we move closer to understanding how work can be more human, balanced, and innovative in the years ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.